Today I'm going to take you through setting up the Retrospace scene and exporting it out to a 3D PDF. This file can be found in Prime, Example Scenes, Retrospace. I'm just going to delete the environment because I don't need it. And now we're just going to go through and optimize the scene so that it produces a relatively small PDF file. The first thing we see is that we have subdivision surfaces in this scene. If we have this set at anything other than 1, it's going to double the size of the geometry. So what we want to do is go through for a first phase and set all the subdivision surfaces to have a subdivision editor of 1. So I'm going to switch to flat tree here and go through and just select them all individually. Here we have quite a few. And now I'm going to select this and set the subdivision editor to 1. If you set it to 0, then the objects will not appear in your exported scene. The next thing we want to do is enable render instances wherever we can find them. If they're not enabled, then it will duplicate the geometry within the file itself. So here we have an array, we can enable it there, another array. If you had any MoGraph objects in your scene, you could enable them. We have an instance object there, and I believe that is all we have within this file. So now I want to do a test export just to see what it looks like and how big the file size is. So we go File, Export PDF, and I'm going to save this as Retrospace 1. For the first test, I'm going to make sure that I have Export Textures turned off and that Phong Normals is also turned off. If Phong Normals is turned on, then for every object that has a Phong tag, it's going to basically double the amount of memory required to store that object, since it has to store an extra X, Y, and Z value for every vertex to describe the normal. So we'll have that turned off for now, and we'll have textures turned off as well. With textures turned on though, what it will do is it will sample every material in here, and for every channel that it finds that the PDF exporter supports, it will sample it at the given resolution that is written. These are all disabled because we have the textures disabled, and the PDF settings are okay, and I'll go over those later. So the file is saved, and the file size is 3 meg. So let me load this in here. Now when you load in files for the very first time, you'll be presented with this warning. This is just to ensure that when PDF files are opened, they don't take over all the system memory, essentially, because some of these files could be big and they could have a lot of textures and a lot of geometry. If you trust this document and you want the 3D to be displayed, then you just go to Options and you can choose to either display it just this one time, or you can trust it and display it all the time. Now, if you want to always have 3D objects be displayed, you can come to the editor, to the Edit Preferences, and under 3D Multimedia, you can enable the checkbox Enable Playing of 3D Content. When this is checked, this warning will never appear. I'm just going to leave that as it is now. This placeholder image can be changed within the settings, but for now, as it says here, we want to trust it. I'm just going to trust it one time and click on this page to activate. So now the 3D model is loaded. So this is the base model that we've just exported, and it's 3 megs in size. So let's just do a little test here. Let's go and export this out with same name there, and we'll just turn on Phong Normals. The file is now 8 meg in size. Trust it. And now you can see it's smooth. And we'll export one more time. We'll turn textures on. I'm just going to set this to 512 for now. and it's going to export out all the color, specular, environment, luminance, alpha, and any transparency as well. Exporting can take a while. So here we have a file now. It's 10 megs in size. I'll open that up. And now I'm happy with this. I'm just going to trust it always. And here we can see the texture come in. And you can see that it's, the resolution is not that high on here. So we'll just up that a little bit and we'll see how that looks. One more time. And we'll set that at 768. So previously that was a 10 meg file. And now with the normals there and the textures up a little bit, it's now about 13 megs in size. And since we trusted it, that warning did not appear. And the texture's looking better up here. But what we notice here is that I'd really like all these bits to be really chromy and shiny. So let's go and do that now. So we need to find this part of the model. It is under main. It's the body. And we'll just check and we'll see which polygons it is that we want to actually change. So we want those bits to all be chrome. And what's this part of the model here? Well, first we'll do this. We'll do maybe the same material, in fact. So this selection here is called chrome, and this material here is called chrome. So this is the one we want to adjust. So what we want to do is we want to add an environment map. And under here, I'm just going to drag in a texture from my desktop. And I want the brightness to be 100%, and I want the mix strength to be 100% as well. Now I'm just going to export that out. Same settings. And the file is now 14 meg in size. You can see now these parts are chrome. There's chrome along here, and the backs are chrome. But these little spheres here are not. These are not. So we'd like to fix those up. So let's close this. And let's also go in here. And I think it must just be this other one called chrome here. So let me just check that. Turn on environment. Drag across my texture. And I'm also going to bump up the brightness there and the mix strength. And export as PDF. Same settings. The file size was 14 meg and the file size is now 15 meg. You may be wondering why the file size has gone up when I've used the exact same environment texture. The reason is because these textures are actually being blended along with the extra settings within the material. So it's a combination of the texture, the mix strength, the mix mode, and the particular color you have on here. And I'll show that just in a second. So I just exported that out and the file is now 15 meg. That time I exported it out as a different file name called Retrospace. So now you can see it's very shiny. Now I want to maybe make those parts down there a little bit red. So let's put a red and we'll change the mix strength to maybe something like that. So now these will be slightly red along here. And we'll just go export PDF, Retrospace, same settings. And the file is saved. You can see now there's a little bit of pink on those. So there's a different texture. The environment map is being combined with the color to create a special map just for these parts of the model, and then there's a separate one for these parts of the model. So there is our object there, and that's how we would like it to be. I hope you found this tutorial useful, and if you have any feedback, just let us know at support@gamelogicdesign.com. Thank you very much.